Hey, Kisses from Kenya is produced by Democrats Abroad Kenya, but everything you hear in this podcast reflects our personal perspectives
Messy as
as,
they might be.
as Americans living in Kenya.
Yes, nothing we say should be taken as the official stance of Democrats Abroad Kenya, Democrats Abroad Global, or the Democratic Party. This is an entertainment space and not an official policy platform.
Thank you. Welcome back to Kisses from Kenya, where we are fluent in contradictions.
And accents, especially the expensive ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But I want to ask first, what made you laugh this week in Kenya?
I think the thing that made me laugh was...
or smile.
I got to spend a bunch of time with kids this week. So I was up in Nanyuki, like in the interior, working in a school. And it was just, I mean, they made me laugh a lot because, children are crazy. But, I showed up with all of my tattoos, of course, and normally I have like a lot more rings on.
Oh, gosh.
And, they were just, of course, peppering me with questions about that. And then as soon as they realized I speak Swahili, they're like speaking to me in Swahili about this, that, the other thing. But, how, like, especially, like, little children, like, they, like, all have, like, elderly people inside of them. So, they're asking me, like, oh, you speak Swahili? How long have you been here? And so I'm telling them, like, in Swahili, like, miaka mitano for, like, 5.5 years. And they're like, One of the kids was like, umekaa huku sana. Like, and it's just, like, basically, like, oh, you've been here a long time. But it's, like, the way she said it, like, sounded like what, like, an old... like Shosho would say, like, because she's just standing.
You've been here a long time.
They made me laugh a lot. What about you?
This week, well, maybe you should cover the kids' ears because it was something on Instagram, just so silly. It's a couple sitting talking to a pastor. It was all fake, and you don't know what they're actually talking about at first because he's like, but I don't want to do it, Reverend. I don't want to do it. And she's like, no, but isn't it true that if he's your husband, he has to do this thing? And then finally the Reverend's like, but what are we talking about? And he's like, eating butt. And the wife is trying to convince the husband. She's like, you should be eating my butt. And she's like, I do it to you. And he's like, well, you like it. And the pastor, that was it, basically. He's like, I think you should see Pastor such and so. He's more equipped to deal with this anyway. It just, I know it's kind of dirty, but it just tickled me so much.
Relatable content.
Yes. So anyway, that made me laugh.
Well, we're going to jump into our first segment, which is our first time doing this one.
Yeah.
And I think, what was I saying earlier? Like, now for something totally different. The world is sliding into fascism. This segment is called Whose America Is It Anyway? Where we read different headlines from the news and talk about what's happening in
Sorry, I'm already
the motherland.
feeling
What's happening in the motherland? Tell us, Vuyanzi.
Okay, well, Donald Trump signs order designating English as the official language of the United States. That's why I'm like so cringy over this because really one of the things I'm thinking about is over the years, this comes up. This thing is cyclical.
I mean, I remember like what is your parents' cousin? Is that your first cousin once removed?
Yes.
So I remember my mom's cousin, like when I was like 7 or 8, going on and on about this, where it was like, you're in America, speak English. We speak English here. And I remember even when I was that age being like, first of all, half of y'all don't speak English very well anyway. Exactly. And I was like, second of all, there is no official language of the United States. So now they've taken away my ability to respond with that.
Okay. I feel, and I think, and especially living abroad, I have such different feelings because not different. I feel very much how I did 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Or 30 years ago about the same issue. Because people here are very accommodating to me when they hear me speak. Even when I'm trying to speak in Kiswahili, they're like,
Oh,
fine.
baby.
Yeah, like, it's
Good
okay.
check.
So I feel like
Good check.
people are accommodating and kind to my language barrier that comes into play sometimes, for the most, like 99.9%. And so in America, it just feels so harsh when these arguments come up to say English only. When you think about how did America start, it's a place where there were many languages that were spoken. Um, and I could go into talking about the enslaved when they were
Yeah.
brought over, even changing their language. But even if you want to talk about the immigrants that came from Ireland or Italy or Spain or England, wherever it was, right? Well, England, maybe that's, well, no, I don't. That's relative too. That the UK English is very
Yeah.
relative. Anyway, I'm cringing over this. So let's, can we go to the second headline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's almost like I just want to rush this part because it makes me
we're
feel
two teachers.
yeah. Education department quietly removes rules for teaching English language learners in United States schools, which is like I have to contain my language so we don't have to do one of those things.
My thing is, it's like pick a struggle. So it's like you need to come here and you need to speak English, but also
We're not gonna
we're not
support
going to support you in doing that.
Imagine that.
So it's like, which one is? Well, I mean, but we know like the underlying purpose is the cruelty, right? So like,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
actually about the English.
Yeah, because I mean,
It's like I just want to make life harder for you. So
basically,
you don't come-
right? Because if you're saying speak English only, and now I'm gonna just blank you over in the school
Yeah.
system so that you don't even have a fighting chance. So that thing really, and by the way, small fun fact
Is
is
it fun?
it is
Or enraging?
no, it was actually fun. When I was in college, I did my internship at the U.S. Department of Education.
Ah.
And it was at that internship that I met my Kenyan friend that would be the catalyst to my moving to Kenya later on. So, yeah, it's a fun fact. Yeah.
That's amazing.
All right.
Less amazing is this third headline.
Yeah. The English only movement, cringe, resurfaces as U.S. agencies roll back multilingual services. So if we can't strip away your services completely, we'll strip away your access to getting the services by removing the support you need to even get those services, the language support you need, which is huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, it makes me think about like, can you imagine if you went to like the Department of, like the Ministry of Immigration here, and they're like, oh no, sorry babe, like we only provide service. And
yeah, like even thinking about that makes me, it gives me
Yeah.
anxiety. So
it's already hard enough dealing with it, like when you can speak the language.
Yeah.
And
You know what? And like the ripple effects, right? Because yeah, we're talking about language, but this is also about mental health.
yeah.
Because the anxiety that it brings, right? Just to go to that building here, it's like the DMV back at home.
Well, I feel like it's so clear that we've shifted away from a concept, like, because typically when you think of public service, like the civil service, like the focus is on service delivery, right? And so it's like one of the arguments for providing multilingual support is to maximize service delivery, right? Like the point is we want as many people as possible to access this service to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, we're gonna gatekeep that.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't want to serve you
and
anyway.
like, let's be honest, like I don't know about like in your experience, but like when I was living in Louisiana, like Spanish language services were almost non-existent, you know, because like it's like they didn't think of that, because it's like we're in Louisiana, so it's only like black and white, and then like that little weird pocket of Vietnamese people that came like during the war.
Okay. So you know, I lived in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
So there it was supported. Yeah, I know. It was definitely supported. I remember even visiting hospitals where it's like the list of languages spoken. Yeah. So it was different.
But in Louisiana, like French is one of the official languages in the state of Louisiana because like that's our history.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, are y'all like, it's one of those where there's always an asterisk, right? Because it's like, oh, but like for our history, like no, we'll make an exception. Keep speaking that real French thing.
Yeah, yeah, I can't.
Anyway, any other thoughts on that one, or shall
No, I
we
don't.
check
Let's
in?
go on because I can't.
Now for something less depressing,
Yeah.
but equally related.
Mm.
So today's session, or today's what is this episode? Is
Yeah, I feel like it's a
called
coaching
language
session.
game. I don't know if we said that earlier, but language game. So on my side, I was just thinking about this idea of like how like English can mean so many different things, especially like when you're an English speaker and you're living in an Anglophone country, but you know, it's like Kenyan English. I mean, it's rooted in British English, so like already the spelling, like the grammar and stuff is different.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's the pronunciation. There's like the way that different words, like and grammar, translate from Kiswahili or from like the different mother tongues that people speak. And I was thinking of like there's so many like instances of like mistranslations, but the one that always comes to mind is when you're talking about food. So you know the word in Kiswahili is tamu, which means like delicious, but it's translated into English as sweet. So
Yeah.
whereas for us as Americans, sweet means sugary.
Exactly.
Like it has sugar in it. And for years, like people would be like, "Oh, it's so sweet," and I'd be like, "It's not sweet. It's savory." or the opposite is that when something tastes bad, the word that's used in translation is bitter. They'll be like, "Oh, this is very bitter." And I always am trying to explain to people. I'm like, no, like dark chocolate is bitter, but it tastes good and it's sweet. Like I'm trying to like disaggregate. And so, but there is no taste good, taste bad. It's taste sweet, taste bitter. So it's like the
opposites, right?
Yeah, like the spectrum.
Yeah.
While it means the same thing, is different words. And so it's like when you're trying to speak across. And then on top of that, you know, like when like my parents would come, or like when other Americans would come, where it's like they don't understand the dynamic because like you're just here for like 2 weeks. Yeah. There's been times when I just kind of sit back and I'm like, I'm just
let's see how this plays
especially
out.
when I try to help and they're like, no, I got this, and I'm like, okay.
I'm thinking about the food, even in terms of spice. So. You being from having lived in Louisiana, you can appreciate. If I'm asking, well, are there spices on the food? I want to know: is there flavor? Or is there some paprika? Is there some seasoned salt? Is there this? Here, the spice is the heat, the chili. Yeah. So it's like I always have to, like, and really, to me, I'm sorry to say, Kenyan food really doesn't have a lot of flavor for me. It's like salt, right? And so sometimes I'm just
or it depends on which part of the country.
Right. And let me say, I kind of stay in Nairobi. Yeah. I need to leave it more often, but maybe that should be another episode, leaving Nairobi. And so sometimes I'm like, I just want to ask, if you're going to make that goat, if you're going to grill it, can you put some rub on it? Can you... But that doesn't, and it's so funny about the sweet because
you don't get a wish and a prayer.
Yeah, it's gonna taste like meat itself.
Which is good. It's delicious.
Yeah, I guess so. I got so used to drowning out flavors with flavors, and it's funny how your mouth gets so used to that. And
well, I've spent a lot of time arguing about that with people, like because I'm like, no, like. And they're like I've spent time arguing with Kenyans, like especially when we went to Nigeria, because I went to Nigeria with a group of Kenyans, and they were like the food is supposed to taste like the food. They're like, all this tastes like pili or pepper.
That's why I know I'm totally Nigerian.
And I was just like, baby, like, but it tastes good, don't it?
Seriously, but definitely that the whole thing with language and it being. Sorry, Siri's recording us. I don't like that.
Mine was. She's so nosy.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, girl, ain't nobody calling you.
I know. I looked over. I was like, why is the phone doing that? Anyway, the whole language thing is, I'm learning Let's just say that. One of the things actually I noticed, and it took me having to, and I'm only on lesson 20, start learning Kiswahili,
Hey.
is the he, she thing.
Uh-huh.
So I noticed some people would
no
say
gender.
he or she, and then finally we got to the lesson, Anna can go for he or she. I said,
There's
no
no
wonder. Yeah, there is not a gender, because I'd say, well, I'm clearly a she. Well, I'd like to. I like to think
it's
that,
that pronouns are not gender.
Yeah.
So is just that person.
And Anna, it doesn't he, she doesn't matter. So therefore for me, I've understood. So my thing is living here. I've learned in I call this my Kenya 2.0 life, is learning to listen.
Yeah.
Listen and learn.
Yeah.
And learning, by the way, speaking of which, this accent this accent costs a lot of money. I've learned that this accent is extremely expensive. And this accent makes prices go up at the drop of a dime. I'm just curious. And so what am I talking about? For those of you who are wondering, somehow an American accent, or at least a foreign accent, because not everyone identifies it as American, a foreign accent drives up prices. And so therefore, what I've started to learn is, don't speak. You give it. So I have people speak for me, and this is even making phone calls. I'll have my house manager. I'm like, you speak. What do they charge? And then she'll tell me, and then I can get on the phone. And I know once they hear me, they're like, damn, we messed up. I'm curious about your experience around well, first of all, when you walk into a room, you bring up the price.
Until they find out. A cheapskate.
So. What's your experience around that?
No, I think what's actually been the most interesting is, like, now that I do speak like halfway decent Kiswahili, like a lot of times, like, you know, if I'm reaching out to someone, like I'll reach out in Swahili first, and a lot of time, like when I've like done that, and then like I'll show up for like whatever the thing is,
and then they're looking behind you.
I thought you were Tanzania, like, because they're like, you weren't speaking the Kenyan Swahili, but like you were speaking Swahili,
super proper, yeah.
And then even like when guys, like when the Boda Bodas like come to pick me up and I answer, I'm like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah. And so I come out and they're like, you wait.
you.
Sure. And I'm like, yeah, you mean me.
I love it. But okay, no, I love that.
It's good because you can challenge a lot of assumptions, I think, in that way.
Yeah, I can, especially when I do start haggling.
Yeah.
Especially when I was like, you know, my word is hapana. It's a no, basically. And then they're like, oh, like, and I get kind of like, I meet them where they are. I may not be speaking Kiswahili. However, I'm getting down with the energy. Like, no, I'm not going to pay that much.
I mean, at the same time, I'm like, look, baby, if you could get it, get them dollars. Like,
but sometimes that's where I become a cheapskate too. But I'm like, I don't want to pay 10 times
in the
the
spirit
price.
of repreparation, if they have the dollars, take the dollars.
Yo, anyway, yes, it can be expensive. Yeah.
Well, any other thoughts on accents and lost in translation?
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually thinking this segment also made me think about growing up and the way I grew up. My family was from the South, not the deep South Louisiana, but the kind of South, like North Carolina. And one thing, exactly, maybe Mason,
I'm the wind which way y'all swing.
and nevertheless, to me, it was still the South. And thinking about it,
they had the slavery.
My grandparents and my mom grew up in what do you call it? Segregation, big time. And my dad, so it was like the loss of accents coming from the South to the North. And I noticed that a little bit later on in life. Now, my grandfather, not so much, but my grandmother, she actually took so much pride in, like, yes, people tell me I speak so, proper or whatever. And I'm thinking about how the perception of not being from the South. I mean, it was never articulated that way. However, the loss of the accent and
Well, and you can see it every time, like people get to fighting on Twitter or Instagram or wherever, and it's like, you know, you people down there and blah 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 blah, and there's so much judgment that comes with that, right?
Yeah, there is. So it's so interesting even to this day. And I found even before I moved to Kenya, when I'm listening to people on the radio, yes, I still listen to the radio for a long time, but even
like
listening there, it's like,
I mean, we over here basically doing radio.
Basically, exactly, podcast and even Clubhouse. Remember Clubhouse?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was addicted
for a
to
brief
that.
moment.
Yeah. However, just even like, am I judging when I hear people? Because people are doing the same to me. Am I any different from when I'm listening to people? So,
and like, what does that mean? Like in practice, right?
Yeah. And I think it does mean how, even if it's unconsciously, I've treated people differently. I've interacted and engaged with people differently based upon language and how I hear. So anyway, it's such a deep thing.
That's also why code switching like is a thing, right? And I say that as someone who has lived most of my life in places where most of the people don't look like or talk like I grew up talking. Or look like the people I grew up with. And it's like there's like so much to, and then there's also something to that when you go back to that group of people, because like I even like will get feedback from like my friends that are like, you know, you sound like more Kenyan now. Or like when I lived in the South, they'd be like, you sound like very Southern now. And they're like, you used to be over here talking about I'm finna do this. Like, when did you ever grow up saying I'm finna do that?
Absolutely.
But it's like that. There's also like there's aspects of that I find like in my experience also like those signal things also to people that are like a level of awareness of like time and space, right?
Yeah.
So language actually, we could do a bunch of episodes.
You know what? And actually, that's what I'm thinking about, because even in being a teacher in New Jersey as the first part of my career, I'm just thinking about how I was perceived. Anyway, maybe we should stop here because I could go deeper on this. Deep.
I used to be fighting with some people at the school, and I was like, if they put I'm finna in the I can only think of the Swahili word in the passage that they're writing, like that means what they say it means. So I'm not gonna mark them down for that. At least not on a formative assessment. Like I will tell you that when you submit this to the state of Louisiana, please don't put I'm gonna do anything.
You know what? And it's
because whatever white woman in Shreveport gets your little thing, it's gonna be like, oh,
Shreveport had some fun in Shreveport, but that's for a story for another day. Yeah.
All roads lead back to one thing with this duo. Okay. Speaking of which, tell me about your Black for the week.
So, oh my God, let me tell you about some Black joy that happened just the other day. It's fresh on me. Can you see it? Because I'm going to tell you. Okay. Yo, so I volunteered somewhere, and there was a person who I was bringing along with me. Actually, there were a couple of people. One bailed, but then one had shown up, and he needed to show up at my apartment because we're taking a ride there to the place. He walked into the apartment, and I was like, well, hello. How are you, sir? Are you the one I've been speaking to on the phone? Or it was more like, well, hello. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. He brought me, first of all, him walking into my apartment brought me joy. A man, and he was a big man. No, stop. No, it's me. You know,
actually, you don't want to sit down and have some coffee before we go.
So he was
my apron on to make you want some. You want some eggs?
Listen,
you like this?
And he even asked us for a glass. He asked for a glass just for water. I was like running to.
over here wiping it down, make sure it's spotless.
The water is, you know, but just seeing him and then his energy was absolutely amazing. So, and he was charismatic, he was a light. And so being around him for like 2 hours after that, joy, 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 joy. I'm sorry. So anyway, that is my, as you can see, I'm still like, I can't even stop.
Maybe he'll feature in future segments.
Lord have mercy. Okay, and over to you. What about some queer joy? What was bringing you joy?
I feel like all my stories this week have to do with me in the village, but
yeah, I love
so
it.
I was in a different village last weekend,
yes.
Marsabit, which is like way on the northern border of Ethiopia. Not usually probably a place that people would usually expect to find the queer joy. I definitely went expecting just like a quiet, you know, like I thought I was gonna have my school marm, you know, like lifestyle for the weekend. Like,
yes.
Yeah, like with my glasses and my Hannah bun, like a nice, you know, pleated skirt on or something. And instead,
sorry, I just pictured you in a pleated skirt. Sorry,
little did I know. So, you know, I was there with a group of Kenyans for like a charity drive. And, well, first we got in trouble at the hotel because we were being drunk and disorderly. But
okay. Surprise, surprise.
So we went out to the club. And mind you, at this point, you know, I had carried like my bottle of Kenya cane pineapple from Nairobi.
If anyone doesn't know what Kenya cane is, say last, child. You can't last.
So I had my Kenya cane before we went out. So like we went out to the club. You know, I was like having a little to eat, having a few drinks. We went to another club, and then we went to the third club. You know what they say? Like your mama told you, don't go to a third location. Also true for the club in Marsabit, because we went to the place. We're like in the local. It's like, you know, all like the old men from town hanging out with their boys, like drinking. And here's me. You know, my gems are on like the music videos on all sides. I'm there singing. Everyone's like gassing me up. And so then there's video of me going from group to group to group of the local men, like with my cup, like. And then they decided to make a game of it where they would just pour whatever they had. So I'm drinking whiskey, I'm drinking gin, I'm drinking scotch, probably some vodka, like.
Oh. I'm just sick thinking about it.
But all I know is at the end of the night, one of those gentlemen decided that, you know what, this one, I'm going to take you home with me. So I almost got put in the compound as a wife. Until them girls had to come and swoop in and be like, baby, I don't think you want to go with this man. I was like, but is he going to like buy me a camel?
The Kenya cane was the wrong move. That is what started the problem.
I had a good old time. So
I love that. I love that for you. Village life. Village
Gotta
life.
love it. Just wait until I move out there. I'm going to be causing all the trouble. Anyway. So in closing for today, of course, we were talking all about language, identity, and how those two kind of overlap, intersect. So what's one phrase or word that sums up your thinking on language and identity abroad?
You want to go first? I'm really thinking. I thought a word would come sooner. It's still looming right here.
It's funny, right? Because I think like originally originally when we were talking about the episode, I was thinking more about that kind of like lost in translation aspect. But now that we've kind of sliced it from so many angles,
yeah,
like it seems more complicated than that. Because like sometimes it's like a marker of power and like choice. Sometimes it's like a marker of confusion and I don't know, complex.
Okay. And I'm feeling very educational, differentiated. I'm feeling because of just the multiple heads. So yes, that's what I'm leaving with.
Well, wherever you are in the world, please send us your linguistic love letters. We're always looking for input from our listeners who having their own experiences with
Mm.
culture clashes
Yeah.
or life abroad or just like funny anecdotes. I mean, you see like most of the time up on here it's the boom boom room. So if you got stories about that abroad too, come on down. We could talk about, I mean, we started today talking about eating, but let's talk about
I can't believe I shared that story.
But anyway, long story short, if you send your letters to us, we'll translate them with care, and we'd love to feature an upcoming episode. So with that, we are Kisses from Kenya. We can't wait to see you on next week's episode. Bye.